Hello, friends, and welcome. My name's Pop. And like always, I forgot to adjust my camera. So let's. That's been fixed. Hello, friends. We're playing some Steins Gate Zero today. We're in the final stretch. Where basically we just have the regular ending and the true ending to finish up. I'm not quite sure how many more streams of this we have, to be entirely honest. I'm thinking two, maybe three tops, but I've been very wrong on that before. Some Before we get into it, just a little bit of housekeeping stuff. A reminder that next Wednesday, which is what the 25th, I think that is, there'll be no stream then. I'm pretty sure there'll be a stream next Saturday. I have like 95% confidence in that. If that's not the case, I'll let you know in the Discord. Speaking of the Discord, some of you were crazy last stream, and because of it, I now have a new emote slot. First of all, you shouldn't have done that. Second of all, there's a poll for what you want the new slot to be. It's for now. It's going to be one of my subscriber month badges. I do have plans for, I think it's just two new emotes to be commissioned, but there's a couple things that'll hold that back. One, I need to spend some time fleshing out what exactly I want from that, and two, my emote artist is currently busy, so it'd be some time anyways. I think that's it for housekeeping stuff. Before we get into this game has some pretty mature themes. If any of these things make you feel uncomfortable, please find some place that makes you feel more comfortable. This game includes themes such as death, murder, torture, kidnapping, rape, child abuse, blood, gore, any of those things against a minor. If you miss any of what I just said, feel free to ask or look down below in the description where I have a list of all the trigger warnings that my games usually have. Okay, so what did we do last time? So last time we finished off the bad ending. So we were kidnapped by Dr. Leskinen. He took a copy of all our memories and then was torturing us to get all the information about the time machine. At one point, I think it's Suzuha. It's Suzuha and Moeka break in, kill everyone except for Dr. Leskinen, who escapes. We escape. We switch to... who is it? To Maho, who meets Mayuri and basically tells Mayuri all the stuff Okabe hasn't about the Otherworld lines, about her dying multiple times, about how he's doing all of this stuff to protect her. She doesn't like that. She runs off. Then Maho's approached by Kagari, who's like, don't make mommy upset. And then suddenly there's a bunch of people who are fighting over the time machine on the roof of the building because Dr. Leskinen sold them all that information, I guess. So basically, Akihabara breaks out into a small skirmish between different military powers. People try and get away. As far as we know, I think most people get away. Maho, I think, doesn't survive. Mayuri, I don't think, survives. And Daru goes off and decides he's going to build the time machine because that's what he has to do because this world line is lost. And we're just like, I guess this world line's lost. Whatever. We made this choice. So then we loaded save and we went along the final path. So we go back to one of Daru's hidden hacking lab areas. We stay there longer so that the people who are going to invade while we're still there. Daru has like an emergency exit out like this balcony, and then we hop across to another building and go down their fire escape down like a different side onto a different street. And then Moeka's team appears and holds us hostage for the computer and the password. And while that's happening, then the Russians appear and kill a bunch of them and destroy the laptop. And we're able to get away during that. Make it back to the lab. Basically just grab some stuff and we go over to Ferris's place because we think that's the safest place. Maho we're not quite sure if it's a dream or if this actually happened, but Moeka breaks in and is basically like, yeah, well, I'm here now, you do what I say or I'm just gonna kill everyone. And yeah, so she has this nightmare. Okabe was gonna tell her everything about Christina, but Maho says basically, I don't want to know right now, don't talk about it. I can tell it's making you sad and stuff. So, that's basically what happened, and now we've stayed at their house a couple days, and we're gonna see what happens next. Now that Chrissy's computer was destroyed, the odds that anyone would come after us had gone way down, but there was still a chance. Just to be extra careful, I stayed away from the lab, and from all music decisions, because this is very quiet. There we go. So it's now the 26th of January. Dr. Leskin looked a little thinner since the last time I'd seen him, but not as thin as my phone. Dr. Leskin held Maho tightly in his huge arms. The difference in size between them was so great that Maho looked like some kind of stuffed animal. Dr. Leskin and Maho were leaving the country in the afternoon on a weekday, so I was the only one who could see them off. Yes, Samuses, you are here. You really didn't miss much if you missed the first 8 minutes. It was... it was me just doing the usual stuff, reminding people I'm not here Wednesday, and reminding people if they haven't voted in the poll in Discord for the next emote, vote for it. For now, I have one of the three, which is, I think the one you voted for, the curry. I believe it's currently a three-way tie between curry, onigiri, and tempura. Yes, there you go. Since I'd been with Maho the whole time, instead of seeing them off, I'd actually just brought her there. Maho was, after all, the kind of person who was incapable of getting to an airport on her own. I was amazed she'd survived this long, given her lack of basic skills. We'd held Maho's goodbye party last night at Ferris's house. Ferris was there, and so were Mayuri and Daru, and the others from the Christmas party. All were sad to see her go.
Rintaro, Maho to ishshoni ite kurete arigatou. Hontou ni sewa ni natta ne.
Yes, you missed the disclaimers. You missed the disclaimers, you missed the... won't be here Wednesday. I'm like 95% confident I'm back on Saturday. Missed the emote stuff. I think that was it. And then the disclaimers. And then the review of last time.
Yeah. それでうちの研究室にはいつ頃来られるのかな？
He wasn't kidding about that,
勉強
huh?
して少しでも早く行けるように頑張ります。その時は俺から連絡しても。
もちろんいつでも待っているからね。
He smiled as he took my hand and shook it. I was really glad to hear it. After meeting Amadeus, my desire to go to Victor Condria had only increased. It's not like anything bad happened in any other world lines whatsoever that would make us not want to be friends with him.
Okabe-san, お礼を言わせて。いろいろとありがとう。あなたがいなかったら、私は今頃命はなかったかもしれないわ。
大げさだな。
いいえ、本心よ。本当に感謝している。私も あなたのことを待っているから頑張って。
あ、君も研究を頑張ってくれ。
それでレインタロウ、事前に連絡しておいた通り、エムテウスのアクセス権は今日ここで解除させてもらうことになる。
I still have it. Take that.
いいね。
はい。
Evidently, they couldn't leave him with access to Amadeus after they left the country. I was only supposed to test her during their stay here anyway.
クリスに最後に挨拶するかい？
そうですね。あ、じゃあ一言だけいいですか？
もちろん。
I tapped the icon for Amadeus.
何？私にもお別れの挨拶してくれるの？
Chris was expressionless for some reason.
まあな。
My Yuri's not on the screen, Samus.
私なんかよりも先に真帆先輩には挨拶したんでしょ。
Nora's baby shark.
ちゃんとしたわよ。
Maho interjected before I could speak.
それならいいけど。
It's exactly what you'd expect from that video. Chris was inside my screen. Was it a good thing that I'd spoken to her like this? Yes, absolute amazingness and slightly makes you hate yourself. Or a bad thing. In the end, I knew I needed to forget about Krisamakise, but I couldn't. I couldn't escape from this curse.
アクセス権がなくなったらもう会えなくなるな。
No, but she's communicated via Rhine before, so you can still text each other. Hello, hero. Isn't this supposed to be where you say Popeye raid?
まあ、私の話し相手になってくれたことには多少は感謝してる。
Dang it, Sam, this is not you two.
デスキネン教授の研究室に来る可能性はあるんでしょ？一応、再会するときまであんたのことは覚えておいてあげる。
We can't raid myself. We've tried this several times.
ツンデレだな。
How have we gone through this whole game and not explained what Tsundere is? A character who is Sun-sun, prickly and cold in public, but becomes dere-dere, warm and loving in private. Also, the personality type itself. However, in recent years, the definition has become somewhat vague. This is the greatest video you've ever watched. The only thing I wish, and this was stated in the comments, was that they were able to cut out the original doot-to-doos. That would have made it better. But the rest of it is exactly what I expect, and it's amazing and makes me hate myself. Only slightly.
ツンデレ？何それ？知らない言葉を使わないで。
顔が赤いぞ。
この子、照れてるわね。
Chris は shy.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I would not be able to do it. I assume that unless you were able to get basically... Dang it, Hero! Unless you're basically able to get a version of the audio where it has the background music and the vocals separated, then you could probably do something with it. Otherwise it would be a pain.
教授まで。
元気でというのはちょっと違うな。君は別に病気にはならないわけだし。
You can give her a computer virus.
あまりヒヤジョーさんのことをからかうなよ。
はいはい、言われなくても分かってるわよ。
Yeah, like I'm sure there are people who are plenty skilled enough that they could remove just the audio, even if it was a flat, like, I don't know, MP3 or whatever other file you could get. I don't have that skill. I don't even know like where you'd really start.
それならいいんだ。
あんたがいつかそんな風に寂しそうに笑うんじゃなくて。
Yeah, like I'm guessing that's what you'd have to do. You'd have to isolate the doot-to-doos. Basically run it through a filter that negates that part of the audio. I mean, you can do that in Audacity. How good will the quality be? Not sure. The only other way I can think of it, and it's a lot more complicated, would be to write a machine learning algorithm that basically progressively tries to remove more and more of it based on initial input, and then you can rate it afterwards. But that would be a pain and require a lot of like manual checking. I guess even an AI could see right through me. Makise really was one hell of a woman. I mean, look at that RAM.
Ah,
Percy disappeared from my screen. I turned to Dr. Leskinen and nodded, deleting the Amadeus icon from my screen.
Access 権の解除は後でこちらで手続きしておくよ。テスターとして協力してくれてありがとう。貴重なデータが取れた。
I've done it with a single track where I've recorded something and there's like something in the background, like a I don't know, like a desk hit or something that you try and isolate and get rid of. It has moderate success. You just can't go overboard, otherwise you sound like you're inside a tin can.
こちらこそありがとうございました。
But Hero, we're on the good ending. Hi, Oreo. I bowed deeply to both Maho and Dr. Leskinen. I watched their plane take off into the distance. I noticed that it felt like there was a big hole in my heart. I clutched my phone tightly. Its connection to Amadeus was gone. But Hero, you gave me your dog, and I renamed it to be Oreo. Now we're a child in the future again.
今日から私とあなたは正式な親子になるのよ。
This is when Kagari was 6. Only the hot dogs. Only the hot dogs. You'd been living in a facility for war orphans and getting treatment at a dedicated clinic next door. I'm gonna make the decision and move my head over. Definitely the cold dogs. Man, is that what the Cold War really was? They're like, you don't deserve hot food, only cold food. That also sounds bad. It was a completely different place than the normal hospitals, which were overflowing with casualties from the war. It was an idyllic garden, shut off from the despair of the outside world so that the children could live in peace. The Cold War was about which side of the bread you put the butter. Does your toaster not toast both sides of the bread? Why rename her Oreo? Because if you look at her face, it goes black, white, black, so it kind of looks like an Oreo cookie. Ah, you have the toaster oven. I see. That's your mistake. Although I do like toaster ovens. I like the ones where you put the bread on the top and it goes and then it like falls down the chute. Those ones are fun. And honestly, I don't know if it's just the bread. Look this up, Samuses. So I've only ever seen this in like hotels or like a similar kind of place where there's I guess like a buffet style breakfast. But yeah, and the reason for it is because you can have multiple people putting their bread through at once. I think you can have like 8 or 10 slices going through at once. And as long as everyone there agrees that like we're doing it at this speed, because then the speed determines how long it's in the heat and how dark it gets, then everyone can just put their bread in. If someone wants like lighter or darker, then if darker they can just put it through a second time. Lighter, usually I find people just wait and then like throw it in a bit further so it's in there less. But yeah, I've always found those really yummy. It also just might be that the bread was very yummy too, because it was. This is where she met her mom. Mom Mayuri Shina was a Class 2 caregiver at the facility who was always nice to her. I don't have that bread now, Samus. This bread, it was like made in shop. So I've yet to find a bread that someone makes themselves that's horrible. Assuming that they're actually trying to, you know, make good bread. Like, please don't put, I don't know, like gum and a sponge inside your bread. Our bread's alright. Just eat it straight out of the bag. But Hero, sliced bread didn't exist then. So are you just like pulling out the whole loaf of bread, taking a bite, and then just putting the whole loaf back? Yeah, I agree, Samus's. But also, those aren't. That's not the bread that people usually treat to guess. It was impossible to express with words how happy Kagari had felt. Being Mom's real daughter meant that Kagari had become her real name. Kagari became Kagari Shina, who would later try and murder a bunch of people. I mean, people cut bread. Sure. I'm sure people tore bread as well, yes. Treat me to the first ever loaf of bread. Yeah, I've not made bread. I've baked other things, but I've not baked bread. I would like to, though. A good sourdough. Thanks, Automod. Automod just doesn't like you, Hero. Oh, this doctor's important. He's got art. Gary didn't know the doctor's... Okay, he's not important anymore because the child doesn't know the doctor's name. Yes, that one did. Hero and Candy. Automod doesn't like either of you. But he was a nice old man. He was always kind to her. Very likely, Samus's. I've just been thinking though, like I've been in other channels and like Automod doesn't care as much in some people's channels, and I don't know if that's just because the sheer volume of messages that they have more things like already added each stream or what. Also, Automod doesn't remember things between streams. Like I've never understood that.
それは身体的な傷の話なんだ。東京大空襲で子供が受けた心的外傷後ストレスは大人の比ではないからね。それに昨日の診断で分かったこと。
Yeah, I'll have to check my settings. Let me add that to my notepad while I have. Make Automod not be a dick. There we go. Samus is... So, I had no idea how much a scold should be worth. I just made it. To be like, yeah, I made it, and then see. Yeah, I should probably... let's lower that. How do I do this? OBS, why are you confusing me? It's probably just gonna link to another place. Lower it to like 9999 points. What a bargain. What? Okay. Genuine question, Samus says. What do you think is a reasonable amount for me to go like... Why did you watch this channel so much? Why did you accumulate so many points? You shouldn't have done that. Make Chaos drink an entire glass of water. So some of my favorite things I've done with channel points. I made Irish drink an entire gallon of water for, I don't know, 50 channel points. I've made Zero read out a bunch of random crap, including to but not limited to the first, like, minute of the B-movie script, X3 Nuzzles but stream safe version. Gosh, what was some of the other stuff I had him read on stream? I had a couple other ones. I don't remember what they are now. Those are some of my favorites.
そうなの？かがりちゃん。そんなことないもん。もう怖い夢なんて見ないよ。楽しい夢ばっかりだよ。
Oh, I also love abusing Mim's Ask Me Anything to ask him dumb questions such as, which Sailor Scout do you best identify with and why? And that one's only like 200 or 300 points.
かがりちゃん、嘘は良くないよ。それでは治療はもっと長引いてしまう。夜中に怖い夢にうなされて起きることが未だによくあるのだと昨日話してくれたよね。
Oh, was I?
そうなの。
I bet I was looking in the wrong place. Manage rewards. Oh, it's gonna open in Chrome, isn't it? Of course it will. Yeah, how much should a scold be?
この子の脳内に空爆の記憶が恐怖として残っている証拠だろうね。きちんと治療しておかなければ後で取り返しがつかなくなる。
So the scold will be something like, well, I guess you're getting a free scold for the Samus as the example. Samus's, why did you save up so many points? You could have done so many other things. You could have made me juggle, you could have made me stretch. Why have you been here for hours? Why do you spend all of your good time being here when you could have been someplace much better? Shame on you. Something of that effect. Solid 1K. Okay, I will take this into consideration. I was thinking, I put 10K in it just because it was after stream, and I was like, I'll put it in because I'm going to forget that Samus wanted me to put this in, and I'll just put it to, 10,000, whatever. I can change that later. I was, like, after thinking about it, I was leaning about 2,000, where it's like, you could have done a stretch, you're also almost halfway to a juggle. 2,500? Do I hear 3,000? 3,000? Going once, going twice?
そうですね。
Oh, how does this sound? The scold gets progressively larger each time someone redeems it. So it starts off at like 1,000, then it becomes 1,500, and it's like... eventually you have to, like, rack up a huge number of points to have done it. And we have, like, a scold leader, so it's the most recent scolder. Yeah, it would reset, yeah, after a certain period of time, every stream or every week, something like that.
はい。
Because otherwise you're gonna get to the point where it's like, next scold is 30,000 points. No, I wouldn't go that high, but if...
かがりちゃん頑張って悪い病気をやっつけようね
Oh yeah, we could do it like Zero's Hat, where we have to be the first to be scolded. Yeah, you can limit a channel reward to only one redeem per stream, so then the first person who redeems it gets it. I think currently I have it set for something like you as a viewer can redeem it once per stream. However, if, say, Samus redeems it, Hero can also redeem it because Hero hasn't redeemed it this stream. And it has like a 20-minute cooldown, I think. Mom rubbed her head. Kagari felt so at peace that she could cry. I have yet to redeem the hat. And I've been in the stream in like the first 5 to 10 minutes. And then the one time I didn't check, Hero redeems it and it's like an hour and a half into stream and I was so mad. Mom took her hand away, and instead the doctor took Kagari's hand. Dang it, Hero! She was taken to the usual room. There was a white, reclining chair, and next to it, some kind of mechanical system connected to a headset.
聞こえるいつもの声
君はママを守るんだこの世界を守るんだ
I love how it's just like, yeah, this is just the voice of God.
生まれてきたんだよ
Imagine if you could limit it to once per viewer for life. Cruella's back. She couldn't remember when she started hearing the voice, but by the time she was 6, whenever she was worried, uncertain, or in trouble, she could hear it. It was always kind and strong, and always cheered her up. That voice cheers you up? That voice is terrifying. In Kagari's childish mind, she started to think it might be the voice of God. Okay, so the 6-year-old child has labeled the voice. Okay. Since only she could hear it, everyone else said it was just an illness, but Mom was the one person who believed her.
ママを守るんだだから治療頑張るんだ
Gari's young heart was filled with the hope that she could someday live with Mom. Welcome to Mom's house. As soon as she opened the door, Kagari Shina was struck by an unpleasant wave of heat. It was early June. This was the first day to hit summer temperatures. It was hot enough that just walking outside could cause you to sweat. The small Japanese-style room had thick curtains and the windows were closed. The room was dark and cramped, and there were so many clothes on the floor, there was no place to stand. It wasn't just clothes, there were all kinds of filthy things. Bags with half-eaten snack bread still in them, half-rotted food packs, plastic convenience store bags overflowing with trash, all scattered around the floor. And the area around the half-naked girl sitting against the wall was covered in bandages and gauze soaked with blood and pus. There were bandages tied around her exposed stomach, eyes, and limbs. But these too were soaked with blood. The room was filled with a sickeningly sweet stench, but there was no way to know if it was coming from the garbage or coming from her. Nice to see in that all that combat, all those like bullets and all those injuries to her, she didn't break her glasses. That would be a shame. The owner of the room, Mooka Kiryu, raised her head and looked at her, eyes filled with hope.
M4 まだ生きてたか
When she saw Kagari, he was still wearing her shoes as she came into the room, her shoulders slumped.
FB ちゃんない
Look at that, it's bedtime.
誰命の恩人に向かってひどい言い草ね
Mooka gave a painful cough and spit up some stomach fluid mixed with blood. It stained her thighs and the floor. You're not getting your security deposit back. Her wounds must have opened again because the bandages around her stomach began to turn red. She'd spent 5 months like this, with no treatment from a doctor. Mocha had gotten into a gunfight with the Russian army and failed her mission as a rounder. She'd lost 2 of her companions, and her target Krista Makise's laptop was also destroyed. They pinned the blame on her. She was wounded and almost killed. It was Kagari who saved her and brought her to this room, which ironically looks exactly like Moeka's room from the first game, just with more trash. But if someone with a gunshot wound went to the hospital, the police would be notified. For that reason, she never got any real treatment. Her wounds had become infected, and even 5 months later, they still brought her incredible pain. I'm sure if you were part of a secret organization, and you had... Well, I guess the Rounders don't want her. I guess whoever Moeka works for, or not Moeka, Kagari works for, I'm sure you could get a, private doctor who would come and not ask too many questions because he gave them a large sum of money. Her terrible fever hadn't let up at all. It wasn't rare for it to go from 39 to over 40. That's over 100 Fahrenheit. But Moeka didn't seem very interested in her wounds. Give Samus a large sum of money and they won't ask any questions. They're also not a doctor, to my knowledge. Yes, yeah. He was more interested in sending messages with the phone in her hands. She must have been sending more messages to her beloved boss in the past 5 minutes. She'd sent almost 1,000. The boss of the team that, basically killed you? Facebook was Moeka's boss in the Rounders. A woman who always gave orders to Moeka via text message. Moeka worshipped her, a degree that far exceeded what could occur within a normal employee relationship. The shock of being abandoned by Facebook had hurt her many times more than her actual wounds. Kagari tossed the bag she had slung over her shoulder at Moeka's feet, along with 2 plastic bags. The backpack was filled with medicine that wasn't available without a doctor's prescription. Along with it was a whole box of illegal drugs. So you're buying a bunch of illegal drugs, and you can't just, pay off some doctor to be like, yeah, can you, give us some antibiotics and, stitch up my friend and, tend to her wounds and just not ask too many questions? I feel like that would be the same as just buying a bunch of drugs for half a year. Normally, these would be kept under strict control at a hospital where no person could get them. Both of the plastic bags are filled with canned goods and other things Kagari had chosen because they had the lowest probability of spoiling. Jeez, we're ready to kill a person. But Moeka didn't seem to notice Kagari at all anymore. She was completely unresponsive. Kagari had gotten used to her attitude over the last 5 months. But she wasn't just going to go home today. She wordlessly reached for Moeka's cell phone. Moeka tried to resist, but evidently she had no strength left. Kagari was easily able to grab the phone. It was covered in blood and pus, but Kagari forced it into her pocket without hesitation. Moeka started crawling towards her. It was like something out of a zombie movie. Moeka froze. Kagari took another cell phone out of her pocket. It was the same Japanese cell phone that Moeka had been using, minus the dirt and blood stains.
だから今後はこっちを使って指令が来る。
Mocha reached a trembling hand out toward the phone. In an instant, she snatched it away and clutched it to her chest like it was her own child.
FB はこの携帯ならメールをくれるの？
多分もう来てるはずよ。
Mocha quickly opened the screen on the phone. When she saw the words on the screen, tears started to flow down her face.
M4 私の可愛い娘大変だったわね。私もとても心を痛めています。失敗したことは残念だったけれど、あなたが生きていてくれて。
Hey, for once we have a cell phone that's not at full battery. Huzzah.
早く傷を治して私からの次のメールを待っていてね。今度こそ任務を完全に遂行し、私の信頼を取り戻して、あなたのことを心から信じていますからね。私の大切な大切な娘へ FB より
Cool, now you can manipulate Mocha by sending her text messages. Great.
わざわざ読み上げなくてもいいのに。
Of course, this message wasn't from FB. Kagari had written it herself. Keep someone at the brink of death for 5 months and then give them exactly what they want as bait, and you can easily put anyone under your control. Kagari knew this well. Dang future kids and their torture and mind control tactics. The life suddenly returned to Mocha's face. She spilled out the contents of Kagari's backpack like a woman possessed.
傷を治して
Oh, Ella left now.
FB の信頼答えなくちゃ。
それでいい M4。
Kagari smiled, satisfied, and knelt down in front of her.
私が治療してあげるわ。包帯を全部取りなさい。
When Kagari left the apartment, the sun had set. She only cuddles on her own terms. Yeah, that's fair. She spent several hours treating Moeka's wounds. Her hands still smelled of medicine. It wouldn't go away for days, possibly. She sighed and put on her full-face motorcycle helmet, then went to the parking lot and got her bike.
神様の声、そろそろ聞こえるかな。
She whispered. Vroom! She took off on her motorcycle. Okay, we just jumped ahead because we'd been in June, and then we jumped to the we'd been in January. Then we jumped to the 1st of June for that scene there. And now we're near the end of June. It was almost July. The rainy season hadn't been that bad this year, and what little remained of it had already disappeared. Temperature-wise, the summer had come a long time ago.
夏か。
In other words, it had been almost a year since it happened. And then one Saturday afternoon, If I stayed home, not only would it be hot, but Dad would be on my case about helping with the family business. To get away, I'd come to the area around Ikebukuro Station. A year ago, I could have gone to the lab, but with Suzuha living there now, I'd mostly stopped going. That meant it was hard to find a place to study on my days off. It was too much trouble to go to the university, and the classrooms probably weren't open on weekends anyway. This seems identical to the last one, so for any of these that are identical, I'll tend to go a little bit faster, because we've seen them already. After a lot of research, I settled on spending my free days visiting this cafe near my parents' home and spending a few hours there. In fact, a lot of the other patrons did the same thing I did, buying a single cup of coffee and sitting there for hours on end. I guess the difference is we won't get a phone call from Amadeus here. Some brought books, some brought computers. I chuckled to myself as I realized that I joined the ranks of the other normies. Doo-doo-doo. Where are you now? Coffee! Oh, the usual cafe, right? So went to your place and you weren't there. You did? Did my dad make a nuisance of himself again? It's okay, he gave me some barley tea. I have to go shopping. Will you come with me? Okay. Thank you. Okay, I leave now. Wait for me. So she went to my house. My family's business was called Okabe Greengrocer. It was a beat-up old store located at a rundown shopping street. The place is almost 40 years old. I really wanted them to rebuild it. My mind had wandered. My area was going to be here in less than 15 minutes, so maybe it was time to call it a day. I'd worked pretty hard during the morning, so it wasn't too bad. I was a little surprised at how hard I'd been working lately. I could feel how having a goal gave me energy. I need to get to Victor Condria University as soon as I could. I was still in contact with Maho via email and chat. She was evidently busy with her research because she was always sleepy. I feel like I'm always sleepy and I'm not working hard on research. I took out my phone. I found myself looking for a certain icon in the home screen. Of course, I'd deleted it myself 6 months ago. But joke was on them. I'd only deleted the shortcut on the home screen of my phone and hadn't actually deleted the application, so sucks to be them. Amadeus. Was Chrissy doing well? Knowing her, she was probably coming up with some complicated theory or teasing Maho. Is this the end? So, I don't know entirely, Sam says, but from my guess is we're going to have a large chunk of repetition, similar to how we had with Chrissu in the stairwell. And then it's going to have a better ending of what happened last time, and then after that, it's going to do the same kind of thing where it did like credits and then like another sequence after. That's my guess, I don't know for sure. It was also possible she was visiting that channel and hiding it from Maho. That's right, Chrissu had internet access. It makes sense if she accessed that channel. But given that... Chrissu had spent a lot of effort last summer trying to argue with John Titor on that channel. That happened in the Alpha World line, though. Still, it meant that she was okay with posting. There was a chance that Chrissu was doing the same thing. If Amadeus had even temporary access to the network, then just maybe. I opened the web browser on my smart... We get a web browser this whole time? I could have been like, oh, someone's having a boring conversation? Yep, Reddit. Here we go. Without really expecting much, I ran a search for a nickname I knew I'd never forget. Free Gohan and Kamehameha. It was the handle that Chrissu had once used. I spoke without thinking. I bowed my head a little towards the other customers, who were staring at me coldly and looking back at my smartphone. Amazingly, the search turned up several hundred results. They were all comments on that channel. I took a look at the dates on the results page. The oldest dated back to 2008. Those must have been written by Chrissy when she was still alive. I never expected to see traces of her
って
here.
いうか投稿しすぎだろう。
I didn't realize she spent this much time on that channel. Her comments are spread out on a lot of different boards. Physics, mathematics, science fiction. Oh, and of course the occult boards. For example, in the science fiction thread, she had passionate discussions about time machines. Unlike in the Alpha World line, she never came out and denied the possibility of a time machine. Surprisingly, some of her comments seem to be quite the
いや
opposite.
意外でもなんでもないか。
After all, she'd gone through all the work required to write a paper on time machines. Compared to that, her comments on the occult boards were brutal. She would absolutely crush the arguments of anyone who dared to propose anything that even the least bit unscientific. Supernatural phenomena like crop circles, poltergeists, and spontaneous human combustion. Out-of-place artifacts, the Mayan doomsday calendar, conspiracy theories about how human DNA had been brought from another planet. She broke them down and refuted them with cold thoroughness that even drove away her own side. If anybody dared challenge her, she'd leave them flat on the canvas. It was just like Chrisu. Her comments offered so little room for discussion, it was aggravating to read them. Did she actually enjoy all this occult stuff? She put enough energy into this that I couldn't help but wonder.
いくらなんでも大人げなさすぎだろう。
The first time I met her at last year's ATF, I'd gone through the same experience. But, after a certain point, the Curry Gohan and Kamehameha comments suddenly stopped. The cutoff date was July 27th of last year, the day Chrissy died. The last comment was a slightly too heated response to someone who was mocking Dr. Nakabachi's time machine press conference. My chest tightened with the sensations of nostalgia and sorrow. I decided to close the browser. But then I stopped as soon as I saw her next comment. I brought the phone closer to my face and stared at it again and again. The date of the comment was December 1st, 2010. Hello, Chaos. How's it going?
これってまさか。
Chrissy died in July 2010. Samus is already blaming Chaos for stuff. This couldn't possibly be her. So who was it? Was it someone else who'd taken over the identity of Kuri Gohan and Kamehameha? Or was it... Since there was no trip code, I couldn't tell for certain. Trip code, an encoded string of characters that appears next to a name on the @channel message board. By entering your name as name, pound, some word, you can cause some word to appear in an encrypted form. It's Chaos's fault you're bald? Blame Chaos for everything? December 1st was just after Maho and Dr. Lesson had come to Japan. Also about the time I'd encountered Chrisu. After that, Kuri Gohan and Kamehameha commented about a rate of once per week. Solid logic. Something happened to Samus's must be Chaos's fault. Solid logic. I looked for the most recent comment.
昨日の夜じゃないか。
It was a discussion about relativity theory. She really did get foul-mouthed when she went on a @channel. Then I realized that she said the same thing to me face to face. If this wasn't some imposter, if this really was Chrisu. What a miraculous and yet stupid story. Did Maho and Dr. Leskinen know about this, I wonder? Probably not. Chrisu wasn't going to tell them. But I couldn't help but laugh. If I try to make contact with her, I want to see if this Kuri Gohan and Kamehameha really was Chrisu. Then I came up with a good handle. Salieri's neighbor. Of course, this was a knockoff of Maho's ID. Kuri Gohan and Kamehameha really was Chrisu, she'd have to notice it, right? Okay. If this thing would stop scrolling, we could read all this. You're one of those people who thinks that the Michael... Oh, dang it. Dang it, game. There, it's posted. I missed what was saying, and I'm guessing it's not in the backlog. No. The gist of it was, like, refuting someone's belief in a specific theory and then being like, yeah, you're an idiot, go back to school. And we reply, thought I smelled a more, and it's true that the original purpose of that experiment was only to prove the existence of ether, but you can't deny that it helped Einstein. As a result, you can say that it formed the basis of his theories. Someone needs to go back to school, and it ain't me. How about that? I wrote something deliberately provocative, and importantly, I'd mixed in some mistakes. Not to brag, but I thought I knew a lot more about Krista than Maho did.
あっさり釣られるはずだ。クリスならな。
Fishing. The act of catching fish. I don't know what I expected. Also refers to deliberately provoking someone on an anonymous internet message board or typing in deliberately false info and enjoying the angry result. I love how they had to preface it by like, fishing. Catching fish. But also, you probably knew that, and here's what we really meant, and that you wanted to know in the first place. At some point, Mayuri had walked up in front of me. I'd been so busy writing my comment that I hadn't noticed. I hurriedly put the phone away and stood up. Nope, phone's back out. Where's my internet? Give me my internet. Mayuri and I left the cafe. And we're back to Pencil X Pencil, the best love story of our time. Mayuri and I met up and headed for Tokyo Hands. When I stepped inside the air-conditioned store, I felt refreshed. It was this hot in June. I shuddered to think what it was going to be like in July or August.
それで、一体何を買うつもりなんだ？
商品宣伝用のポップを作るんだ。だから、それ用のカードとか、蛍光ペンとか。
There you go, Sam says. Now you can do it. I mean, I guess you also could have done it when we opened the Rhine and I literally had to read it because it was the first word she says. Dang it, Deadbeard. It's already in my head. You don't need to give me Baby Shark anymore. How are you doing, Beardy? Nice haircut. Thank you. What was that? Oh, thank you for the host. Okay, we were actually discussing this earlier. Chaos and Deadbeard. What is an appropriate amount of channel points for a scold? Because we all seem to think 10,000 is too high. It was just, after last stream, I was like, I'll just put it in. I don't care how many points, I can fix it later.
Huh? なんだって?
My family business. Dang it, Hero, you've already made that joke and actually offline rated me already. Gosh, Sam, this is not you too. Okay. 2,000 equals 2 streams. Okay. I might want it a bit higher than 2,500, because I was sort of in line with what Samus was talking about. Yeah, I mean... yeah, I was thinking somewhere about halfway between a stretch and a juggle. I mean, I still feel like we get a juggle almost every stream. You guys just rotate who redeems the juggle. I swear someone somewhere has like a Google calendar of like whose turn it is to redeem the juggle. Also, my dad could be a jerk.
お前がそんなことする必要ないんだぞ。
でもマユシーがやりたいからやっている。
I'm the same, Chaos. I have two states for channels. Either one, I save up my points as much as possible and use it only for very special things. Or two, I meme the heck out of that channel and spend points as quickly as I can. There's no in the middle. And usually if I'm memeing it because you have something I can redeem that's very low on channel points. AKA, Irish's 1 point hydrate. Of course I said hydrate. At least it's not shower water today.
おばさんにはいつもお世話になってるから。
じゃあ代わりに今度何かプレゼントするよ。
Yeah, Chaos, there was one point I was saving for Dave's kickflip, and then I think he both removed the kickflip because someone redeemed it at one point when I wasn't there, and then he stopped streaming, so... Dang it, Dead. The most interesting one I've seen was... This was on a streamer who... much larger. I'm not quite sure how large they were. But they had, for 1 million channel points, if they were based in the US, if you were in the US, they would come visit your house and hang out with you for a day and play video games. I took a quick look around and saw that they were selling a lot of things that you could use for advertising. I decided mostly to leave the purchasing decisions up to my Yuri. I don't know if anyone's ever going to make it to that, but I thought it was a cool idea. Like, if you're willing to spend the time and money to make a million channel points, then, like, I guess you know them up. Redeems pop icon. So, speaking of international travel, this is something that's just come out fairly recently. So, when I got my vaccines, Canada allows you to mix. So I got 1 shot of Pfizer, 1 shot of Moderna. There's certain countries that are already saying they won't recognize that as fully vaccinated status. Off the top of my head, I know the US, the UK, and Ireland don't recognize that. So that's something that Canada's in discussion with other countries. That might mean I get a 3rd injection. Because some places in Canada are saying, well, I'll just give you like another shot of Pfizer, and then like, well, now you're fully vaccinated by other countries' standards. Dave stopped streaming. Dave, yeah, he hasn't streamed. Yeah, if Chaos and Deadbeard, how many like poems have you sent to Dave telling him to stream again? I know you got to the point where you guys were like, I feel like I'm bothering him. Redeems hog tying me for Japan trip. 500,000 buy you a console, limited to the price of an Xbox One Series or PS5. 35 messages or something. Yeah. Yeah, Dave and Kate haven't been... I know Kate did a couple after she came back for... It wasn't a whole lot, maybe like 2 or 3 streams, and I think I caught most of them, or at least half of them. Because she would always start, like, at 4 AM for me. So I'd catch the tail end. You like to rhyme to bring back, Yuri. spent quite a bit of time deciding what to buy. Yes, they have more important things now. Yeah, I'm aware of it. I will not say it because it's not my place to say it, but yes. Well, maybe because of all the time she'd spent at May Queen Nan Tiny Rays too, her taste ran in the direction of cute and anime.
ねえねえ、こっちのハート型のも可愛いよ。
野菜や果物を売るのにハート型なんてどう使うつもりだ？
Dave became the first official world emperor. Could you imagine? That's 100% it. Yeah, and I hate to say, his first rule was everyone has to legally change their middle name to Scroat. So you're all known as, you're multi-Scroat Samuses, Chaos Scroat Dragon, Dead Scroat TV, Op Scroat Plays, you know, normal things. Kate is also the new CEO of Amazon.
例えばこんな風に書くのはどうかな。おっきなおっきな松茸くん、今夜のおかずに奥さんいかが？
That sounds very lewd. Don't put that aside, my Eri.
あとは甘くてとろりん、早く食べてね、熟れたメロンちゃん。
It makes your Dave's boss hierarchy. Yeah, even if you're the supreme ruler of the world, Amazon owns more. Yeah. Mayuri, stop saying lewd things.
お前まさか知らないうちにダルに洗脳されたわけじゃないよな。ああ、いや、なんでもない。
A scroat vote? I love the idea that, like, he wants to pass something into law, and he just, like, okay, we're gonna have a scroat vote about this, guys. Also, I don't really care about what your scroat vote is, I'm gonna decide anyways, but I just want to hear what you guys have to say. My area looked confused and completely
とに
oblivious.
かくハート型のポップは不許可だ。
Election
怪しい店にな
erection.
ってしまう。
そうかな。可愛いと思うけどな。
Oh, is he gonna have like some weird political slogan like "Scroat vote, elect to be erect"?
可愛くなくていいんだって。
Why can Beardy say anus? Because Beardy's a mod, yes. My original intention not to interfere had gone by the wayside.
そもそもこれ以上買っても絶対余るぞ。
My shopping cart was filled with cardstock of various colors and shapes.
これだけあれば当分困らないだろ。
そうだね。
You can say lol.
しよう。
Wait, why am I daddy now? We went to the cash register to check out. But since it was Saturday, the checkout area was overflowing with shopping carts. Since it was going to take a while, I sent Myri to browse the toys section on another floor. Yeah, there's Daddy Snackbeard. Should I add the one for Sherb? I made a tiny URL for Sherb. I knew they'd have some stuff from one of her favorite shows, Rainet Kakeru. Myri looked apologetic, but did what I told her to. Okay, adding it to the list. Add Sherb command. So for those of you who weren't there, first of all, you don't even want... Sam says, do you know what one of Sherb's original nicknames was? In the end, I waited a whole 15 minutes at the register. Well, I'm sure you'll see it. Deadbeard, are these actual bots or are you banning them for a joke? Alfred Hitchco and Hot Girl from Cali? From Cali. These are bots. Okay, thank you, sir. But what if the hot girl from Cali is the only hot girl in my area? I decided to get the present I'd promised her. She seemed really happy as she stared at the keychain. It was Upa, the mascot character from the Rainet Kakeru series. Yes, Samus, there will be a quiz. I told her when she went over to the toy section she could pick out anything she wanted, and this is what she chose.
ウーパならもう大量に持ってるのにずいぶん嬉しそうだな。しかもそれって普通の緑色のウーパだろ？レアなやつじゃないよな。レアなのは確かメタルウーパだっけか。
I must say, Deadbeard, earlier today, I got a follow from someone, what was that, Thursday? And just because of these bots, I'm kind of paranoid now. So I checked them out, but I turned on my VPN. So I'm like, huh, if you want to, like, dox me, you'll think I'm in New York now. Take that. The most popular and rarest of the Upas was the shiny silver metal Upa. For example, whenever there was a lottery for rare Rainet Kakeru stuff, convenience stores, the top prize was always a metal Upa. Yeah, I wouldn't stream on my VPN. I did actually stream on my VPN once by accident. I didn't even realize it. This was back when, Samus, when you and I were discussing how only Americans seem to have the, like, watch ads to get free bits. So I was trying to just use my VPN to be American, as we often do in Canada, quite frequently actually. And it wasn't working for me. But then I forgot to shut it off and streamed with it, so... Mayuri had once told me that they sold for tens of thousands of yen at auction. For some reason, Mayuri was wagging her finger at me. A lot of the time, Sam says, the only reason we do it is because there's a lot of American stuff that's entirely banned in Canada. And just, if you didn't know this as well, so, on, what's the Amazon streaming service called? Whatever the Amazon streaming service is called, there was a show I wanted to watch, but it was only available in the UK. So every Sunday afternoon, I lived in the UK. Thank you, Prime. Thank you. For some reason, that wasn't coming to my head. Yeah, so every Sunday afternoon, I would set my VPN to UK and log into Netflix Prime UK and watch videos. But then in Canada, you also have the reverse issue, which is you go to a website and you're like, oh, cool, this is the thing I want. Oh, this price is amazing. And then you're like, oh, this is American. Oh. Did I say Netflix Prime? I clearly meant Amazon Prime. I've been mixing up all of my online streaming shows. Come to think of it, there had been a Rainet Kakeru movie out in spring. My area sat in a theater full of little kids to watch it. So it's actually quite common for Canadians who live fairly close to the US border who go there fairly regularly to just rent a P.O. box in the nearest US city, order all their mail to it, and then just like go like once a month to pick up stuff that's cheaper. Because it is cheaper to rent a P.O. box spend like one or two weekends a month driving down to the States and back than it is to just order it to Canada.
そのバーチャル世界が妖精さんの住む森なのです。
Also, with flights too, a lot of Canadians will drive to a US airport, you know, pay to have their car put in, you know, parking or valet or whatever for however long their vacation is, and fly from the US airport because it's still cheaper to do that. Obviously, this was before COVID, but
スーパーハッカーさんはすごく強くてね、かけるくんもウーパもピンチになっちゃうんだけど、もうダメだっていう時にね、妖精さんたちが助けに来てくれるの。実はその妖精さんたちはかけるくん
see, the problem with Canada is
学校の
not too many people want to invest in Canada. All things considered, Canada is not a large market. Our population is about 34 million, and we're the second largest country in the world, and I think we might have the smallest population density in the world. We're under like 1 person per square kilometer. Granted, most of our areas are heavily populated, and then you have areas up north where there's just literally no one. But even with that, opening a business or something in Canada is usually not profitable as opening in any other country, so that's why a lot of people steer clear of Canada.
いつも優しくしてくれるかけるくんを助け
The only way they usually do it is they start in the US, and then they're like, well, I'll open in like these 3 Canadian cities that are close, because I'm already successful in the US.
それがこの緑の妖精さんウーパー、すっごく可愛いし、すっごく強いんだよ。まゆし感動したな。そういう話に弱いんだ。監督さん天才だよ。
Beardy's banning a whole bunch of bots, but Farming Girl? I guess she's pretty skilled with the hoe.
なるほどな。
It was rare for my area to get this excited about something. I took a closer look and saw that the design was a little different from the standard Upa. I didn't know a lot about Upas, so I couldn't exactly say what was
こ
different.
のキーホルダーね、結構あちこち探してたんだ。すっごく人気があってね、どこも売り切れだったんだよ。
Like, Samus is Zellers is, it's not even called Zellers in the US. What the heck's it called in the US? Crap, what is it called in the US? I need to Google this, because it's gonna bother me. What the heck is Zellers called in the US? Target. That's what it's called. Target. So we used to have Targets, although they were called Zellers, in Canada, and then they all closed. But they're still open in the States, to my knowledge. But there was just a point in time where they just were like, yeah, we're just pulling out of Canada. Chaos Drake. Chaos Drake Dragon? Yeah, drakes aren't real dragons. And Samus's has banned all just people. People aren't welcome here.
ラッキーだったな。
しかもこれが最後の1個だったんだよ。今日は来てよかった。オカリンとおじさんには感謝しなくちゃ。
14 is nothing, Chaos. How many Man of Steels have we banned? I know I have personally gone through Probably over 2,000 potential accounts trying to ban a Man of Steel on Deadbeard's channel. Myri took the tag off the keychain, got her house key out of her bag, and carefully attached it. Do you know who Man of Steel is, Samus?
マユシーね。これずっと大切にするね。
So on Twitch, Man of Steel is a known Mario troll, and they have made tens of thousands of accounts, and they're all sequentially numbered. So it's like Man of Steel 1, Man of Steel 2, and there's like some exceptions. Like I've seen like 001, 002, things like that. But they're constantly making new accounts, and they're constantly trolling people, specifically who play Mario games, to the point where people have made an automated script for banning them in their chat. Yeah. So, Deadbeard's been playing, you know, some Mario games from time to time, Mario Odyssey, the Paper Mario series. So we've seen them come in quite a bit, and like, we have personally gone in, and there have been days when I have just gone through and been like, I'm just going to try and ban everyone between Man of Steel 10,000 and 11,000. And just sit here at my computer, like, doing, you know, like, enter, up, backspace, add number, as I'm, like, watching a YouTube video. Deadbeard says, Man of Steel is a kind man who says, murder, solving all your problems. Oh, I didn't even know he changes it slightly after that. But yeah. Yeah, we just... and we'll see him in chat, and if we see him in chat, we'll just, like, start banning all the sequential accounts from that point in time. Once again, Twitch, if you're reviewing this video, I stand by my idea that there should be streamer group ban lists where you and your friends can subscribe to the same ban list, and like, let's say it's me, Chaos, Samus, and Beardy. If Deadbeard bans someone, I trust who Deadbeard is banning, and they're just banned for all our channels. It would be amazing. Please do it. It happened before, after all. So speaking of people, I actually reported someone. I was watching a stream earlier today, and I won't repeat what they said, but they were supporting, basically it said, everyone should support insert questionable person. I won't say who it is. And like they said it once, I'm like, okay, was that just like a bad joke? And then they said another one, I'm like, nope. Insta-blocked them and reported it, and within 5 minutes, Twitch had sent me an email being like, yeah, we've already banned them. And I'm like, great, thanks. Hero too. Hero can join the group. Like the metal Oopa had won for her at the radio building. Myri had lost it no more than 5 minutes after I gave it to her. Wondered if she ever found it. Deadbeard has banned Hero. I didn't really want to remember that time in my life, so my memory of what happened to the Metal Oopa was vague.
もう絶対になくさないのです。
The two of us started to head back.
あかりんのお店のポップ張り切って作るね。
Can't satisfy everyone.
その作業があったな。
Oh god, someone's gonna take that in a sexual way. I've been thinking the job was done once we bought the materials. Realer work actually began now.
手伝おうか。
大丈夫。マユシーのセンスを信じてほしいな。
Sure, attempt to abuse your powers as I'm curious.
ハートマークのポップを買おうとしてた時点でセンスを疑うぞ。
I'm also curious what you consider an abuse of your powers that you would actually want to try. Yes, mods. I've never done it before, but yes, you can change the title of the stream apparently.
まあポップを作ってくれるだけでもありがたいから文句は言わないけどな。
お母さんにメールしなきゃ。晩ご飯までには帰りますって。
It was something like, what's good about this end, in brackets, EP22. Thank you, Deadbeard. I knew that was a command. I'd never actually tried it. Because I think I've only had one stream where I changed games in the middle, and while I was doing it, I think I just changed it as I was doing it. It never updates in mod view if you open the tab before the stream. That just sounds like it's lazy. The VOD uses the first title.
なんならうちで食べてってもいいぞ。どうせ
Yeah.
親父やお袋が引き止めるだろう
I
し。
mean, I'm pretty sure it should be limited to admin by default. Could you imagine if VIPs could just update the title? Can you imagine if just anyone could update the title of your stream? That'd be chaos.
カリーは今日はこの後ずっと家に
Adds to the blackmail folder.
合コンとか行かない？
Thank you for blaming chaos.
最近は全然行ってないよ。
Last fall, when I've been trying to become a normal college kid, I'd forced myself to go to as many as possible. Lately, I'd been so busy with my studies that I hadn't had a chance.
か。じゃあごちそうになっていこうかな。
Mary took out her phone and started to type something when... Yeah, you have editor, which is a step above. I think editor is editor the one that can also stream to your channel. Her expression suddenly darkened. She stopped
ど
moving.
うした？
うん。ついさっきね、楓さんからメールが来てて気づかなかったよ。どうしよう、おかり。
Mary seemed like she was on the verge of tears.
ねえ、おかり。前に言ってたよね。吹雪ちゃんは病気なんかじゃないって。
Yeah, I think editor's a step above admin. If you're an editor, I think you basically have everything the streamer can do except for like deleting their channel and impersonating them in other chats. I think that's all you can't do.
吹雪ちゃん？中瀬さんのことか？来島さんの方じゃなくて？
うん。あれって本当に病気じゃないんだよね。
おう、違うはずだ。
でも。
Mary showed me her phone. Buki's back in the hospital. I'm on my way. Here's the location.
また入院しただって。
I couldn't believe what I was seeing on the screen. Buki was at a different location than before. This time it was at the AH Tokyo General Hospital, high-tech medical center in Yoyogi. It is supposedly one of Japan's most advanced hospitals. According to what I read on the internet, patients with the new encephalitis that everyone was talking about were being gathered here for special treatment. But I also read a lot of bad urban legends about the place, and I was a bit worried what kind of horror show I'd find here. But of course, when we arrived, it was nothing like that. It was very clean and decorated like a luxury hotel.
おかりさん。こっちです。
So at this point in the game, what's different? We didn't have the scene with Maho back in America. So presumably she wasn't captured and brainwashed, hopefully. And Amadeus has been removed from our phone. I think that's the difference. Kaede and Yuki waved to us as we entered the lobby. Yuki'd gotten a message from Kaede as well, and evidently come right over.
大丈夫だよ。
Yuki gave Mayuri a soft hug and a smile. Kaede bowed her head apologetically.
驚かせてごめんね。私も焦っちゃって。もっとちゃんと確認してからメールすればよかった。
というと、中瀬さんの容体は？
今、病室で吹雪ちゃんのお母さんに会えたんですけど、例の病気が悪化したとかじゃないそうです。
じゃあ、また検査入院とか？
はい、そう言ってました。だから全然心配ないって。なんだ。よかった。
Mayuri looked extremely relieved as Yuki continued to hug her. If I remembered right, the last time they examined her, they said it was possible she had the disease. As long as it didn't get worse, it wouldn't affect her daily life. They just told her to come back for regular checkups. The new encephalitis had arrived in Japan over 6 months ago, but the number of patients was still increasing. Fortunately, there hasn't been a single casualty yet.
あれは病気なんかじゃないと思うけどな。
I was certain that what they were calling encephalitis was actually something similar to reading Steiner. Samus says, do we need to link the XKCD comic? One time, when I went to visit Fubuki in the hospital, I'd secretly investigated the other patients. Link it. Because it... I feel like this covers it in a nutshell. I hope you know. I hope you know the one I'm talking about. I have to click on it, just make sure we're on the same wavelength for it. Yep, yes we are. Looks at Sherb. I wasn't able to get any proof, but I found out most of the patients in her wing had, to varying degrees, memories of the same world line. Many people had memories of Japan at war.
吹雪ちゃんに会えるかな。それがね、今 MRI で脳の検査をしている最中
It's
に。
only so she can bully.
だから病室にいないの。そうなんだ。でももう少しで終わるみたいよ。ここで待
Ah,
っていて。
communism.
吹雪ちゃんのお母さんが。
Ade motioned to Mayuri, indicating she should sit down at a nearby
検査が終
sofa.
わったら声をかけてくれるみたい。
I let the girl sit down on the sofa and stood next to them while I surveyed the lobby.
すごい病院ですよね。
Oh.
Very quickly, Samus's. Very quickly.
中瀬さんの家って実はすごい金持ちだったりするのか？こんなところに入院なんて。
いえ、
2 channel
そうじゃなくて
points.
ですね。
Promotes to editor, immediately just changes your stream title.
吹雪ちゃんのお母さんの話だと、日本とアメリカの政府がお金を出して新しい治療のプロジェクトを始めるみたいなんです。この病院とアメリカの
Actually,
専門病院
I'm entirely curious about this now. I don't know if anyone knows. If you're an editor and have permission to stream to someone's channel, what happens if you attempt to stream to that channel while someone else is streaming to it? Does it just say, like, someone's already streaming, or can you override another stream? Editors, whatever the role is that allows you to do that, there is one that lets you stream to a channel that is not your own.
そうなのか。
Streamer has priority. What if it's two people who don't own the channel? Like, let's say Deadbeard gives Chaos and I access and we both try and do it. What happens? I wasn't sure how I felt about that. And then, conversely, could you imagine if Chaos is streaming to Deadbeard's channel, and then Deadbeard just, like, overrides him and is like, surprise, I'm here! I was right about what this disease really was. It was hard to imagine a bigger waste of money.
患者は全員個室にしてください。それも
I can just believe it can be Deadbeard too.
なるべく離れた部屋で。
Oh, could you also be a total dick? Chaos is streaming on your channel, and Deadbeard just goes and like, yeah, Chaos is done now. I'm just gonna raid him into this other channel. Bye.
それでもやってくれないとダメです。患者同士が会話をすることで夢の情報を共有してしまうでしょ
いや、それはそうですが。
You said you couldn't raid a hot tub streamer?
脳というのはね、他人が見た夢なのに、それに共感を覚えてしまうと、あたかも自分が見た夢のように錯覚してしまう。そういう可能性だってあるのです。
Yeah, the idea behind it is you have like a group channel. So if you imagine, I guess, like Mim's channel, if you had, like, let's say Mim could stream to it, I could stream to it, Fireswamp could stream to it. Kind of like a group channel like that. Or if you had... Dang it. Deadbeard, how did you... Is that another person you found, or is that Slavebeard? Yeah, it might be permission-wise rather than role-wise. You don't know? Someone else was there, Deadbeard. That's all I can say. Across the lobby, I saw an old Japanese doctor in a white coat and a big man in a suit who was frantically trying to talk to him. Yeah, it might just be the stream token. That it might not be an actual role. I'd seen the man in the suit before. Actually, it was a man I knew well.
教授、レスキネン教授。
I hurried over.
俺です。岡部です。
I mean, it's built in as part of Twitch, so I can't imagine it's against Twitch's own terms and conditions if they've literally built it into Twitch that it's something you can use. I assume it's against... I assume it's, like, against terms of service to, like, use something that someone else hasn't given you permission for. If, I don't know, someone, like, I don't know, hacks my account and sells you my token... That's probably against the terms of service. Must have been wearing his translator because he was communicating with the old doctor in Japanese. Dr. Lesson's face quickly broke into a smile when he saw all the people from Animal Crossing were here.
Oh, Rintaro!
His voice was so loud that everyone in the lobby, doctors, nurses, staff, and even the patients turned to look at me. Dr. Lesson didn't seem to notice them as he ran over. It's like a giant American football player racing for a touchdown. My cries went unheard as Dr. Lesson tackled me and then pulled me up. Then he switched from football player to pro wrestler. He swung me up and down. I felt like I was a little child. There was nothing I could do to resist him as he flung me around. A moment later, noticed the cold stares of the people around us and finally released me. Yeah, I think you just need the stream token, because that's what you need if you're setting up OBS or something else. I've never actually known anyone who actually uses this, so I've never seen it in action. That's why I have questions about it. Dr. Lesson bowed to the people around him in apology.
レスキネン先生、この青年とはどういったお知り合いかな？
The doctor that Professor Lesson had been talking to was staring at me suspiciously.
その
I wasn't sure exactly what to tell him. It wasn't like he was really my professor.
まだ学生のようだが、どこの大学かね？
I would assume the way it works is you have a personal token as the owner, which you should never give to anyone. And then you can get a second token, which you can give to other people you want to have permission to stream to your channel. And you can revoke that at any point in time and generate a new token. I would hope that's how it works. I mean, if they also allow you to have multiple tokens and, like, give one to Deadbeard, one to Chaos, one to Hero, and then can revoke individuals, that would also work. Sends them your own private token. Okay.
いえ、俺は
彼は9月からビクトゥ・コンドリア大学の学生ですよ。いずれ私の研究室に来てもらうつもりでいます。
おうほう、ビクトル・コンドリア大学かね。これは驚いた。
I looked over at Dr. Leskinen questioningly, but he gave me a mischievous smile. This guy, he really was such a kid.
日本人であそこへ行ける学生なんてめったにいない。大したものだ。
どうも。
After the doctor left, I sighed loudly enough for Professor Leskinen to hear me.
今の人は
この病院の院長だよ。
院長？そんな偉い人相手に堂々と嘘をついたんですか？
おや、私は嘘なんてついたかな？
Well, that answers several of my questions. Thank you for testing this out, Samuses.
確かに9月から我が校の学生とは言ったが、何も今年の9月からとは言ってないよ。それとも何かい？君は結局我が校に来る自信がないのかな？だったら少し残念だが。
Oh, the new thong emotes are ready? Thank you, Chaos. I'm so excited to see them. He really was a little kid, completely shameless. But still, it was hard to hate him.
でも驚きました。まさか自分がまた日本に来ているなんて。
It had been 5 months since I'd seen him off at Narita. I looked around for Maho, but I didn't see her anywhere.
ウィンタールはどこか具合でも悪いのかい？
If you just believe.
いえ、違います。入院してる友人の見舞いで。
ああ、そうか。それはよか。いや、その友人にとっては良くないか。申し訳ない。
いえ。それで、教授こそ、日本
I love how the story has been so similar to last time. I can kind of just like turn it off and just read chat. Dr. Lesson brought his face close to mine and whispered so that the people around us couldn't hear him.
君も知っているだろう。例の新型
Dang it, Chaos, just become an affiliate.
アメリカ政府の依頼で精神生理学研
Wish your parents had told you that. It said your dad used to say,
手詰まりらしくてね。
well, you banned smiling, Deadbeards. Now we have to make girls cry. I appreciate the fact that your dad just called you Deadbeard. Like, he knew.
私も調査に加わるよう大学から命じられたというわけさ。
Why? Why did Deadbeard ban smiling? Deadbeard has some on-point quotes every time. I don't know how he does it. There was a word I didn't expect to hear. I explained that my friend was here because they thought she might have the disease.
もしかしてその友人というのは中瀬克美?
Let's rewind to shower hydrate. Beauty makes you cry all the time. It's okay. Chaos's parents just looked at him when he turned 18 and said, "Can't figure out? It's just like her. It's a tsundere laptop." I mean, were your parents basically saying you were dating your laptop?
ああ、クリスマスパーティーで会ってましたね。
うんうん。実は
Instead of a body pillow, Chaos had a body laptop.
あのパリがきっかけでね。君と克美が揃って倒れただろ?
He was right, actually. In my case, had been sent to that other world line.
克美には何日か前に再会したんだけどね。私にも何度か噛みついてきたよ。どうしてまた入院させられるんだ?
Thank you for the quote, Deadbeard. And hey, we hit triple ones.
そうでしたか。
Well, there you go, Chaos. Now you can have more quotes when you do one of those, I don't know what you call it, quote roulette things. See, Chaos, you thought of that. I thought if we multiply it by 7, we'll hit a jackpot.
我々も日本の医師団も研究を進めてはいるんだけどね。どうにも消せない検査結果ばかりで困り果てているのさ。
To be honest, I was amazed when we hit 100 quotes. I never thought I would hit 100 quotes. And now we're still going strong. Dr. Lesson's usually chipper expression darkened. Quote roulette is that like Russian roulette, but instead of being dangerous, there's just a chance your father will say, "Hello, truck friend, how are you doing?" Man was such a ball of vitality that I hadn't noticed until then, but when his smile disappeared, I could see the wrinkles that had formed on his face from exhaustion. Must have been working hard, like he said.
正直、最初はどの医師もこれほど不可解な病気だとは思っていなかったらしいんだけどね。ん？どうしたんだ、レンタロウ？
あ、その何か気になることでも?
See, I don't know if I'm funny. I think most of my quotes are just people being like, "Why did you say that? Why? What is wrong with you?"
俺は医学生じゃないのでさっぱりです。
I was just about to tell him about my reading Steiner, but in the end I couldn't. If my uninformed opinion was wrong, it could cost the encephalitis patients their lives. I couldn't just tell him when I didn't have any proof. Then his face drew close to mine again.
ところで、その克美がなかなか興味深いことを言っていたんだよ。
Yeah, this isn't funny. If a stranger says this to you, it's probably an indication that we need an intervention. I'm just trying to think if I can date that photo. Yeah. Photos don't make for good dates. Not very talkative. Can't really do much with them. And if you try to, they just give you a cut.
自分たちは病気じゃない。別の世界の出来事を夢で見る
Dang it, Twitch.
あるだけだとかなんとか。
I told her not to say anything about it. Could she not help it? This was bad. I might start to doubt her sanity. And Deadbeard apparently doubts how flexible I am.
想像力がたくましいというか、SF とかアニメとか大好きですから。
Okay. Tilt the camera up. Okay. I mean, get the leg up here. You can see my toes, kind of. There you go. Computer stretch? What dumb thing can we stretch with? Beautiful. I know what you guys want. You want to see me stretch? Well, I play with my joystick. How's that? Oh yeah. Flexible joystick movement's what you guys all want, right? So this is what even are you? This is a Wiko command control. Made in the US, patent pending. It's got a single button. It's got... How many is that? I don't quite know. It's got about 20 points on the joystick. It's got a button on top. It's got a thing that says base or stick. So either you can use the button that's on the base or the button that's on the stick. That's it. And it's it's got 5 pin on the top, 4 pin on the bottom, it looks like. Yeah. There you go. Hope this is the stretch you wanted. Suspicious. Why did I just see something suspicious? Why is Deadbeard gifted a sub to Toe Party? What is going on? Alright, there was your random computer junk stretch. Oh, what has happened in chat? Okay, what have I missed? You see them toes. You were joking? Nothing like watching a man play with his joystick while thinking to himself. Q1AR39, please select all images containing traffic lights. Really be out there showing... You cannot force me to wear socks. Socks are evil. Toe Party is just subscribed. Yeah, Toe Party subscribing is pretty suspicious, I must say.
他の平行世界を感知できる力なんて多分趣味の影響で口にしただけじゃないかと思います。
Socks are evil. I know there's a quote for this somewhere, but I said before, socks are feet prisons or toe prisons. I can't remember exactly what I said. It's one of the quotes.
実は俺もそういうことを言っていた時期があるんですよ。
I think the quotes start at 1. Well, I'm glad he finally graduated from being a bottom. There you go. No, unfortunately we cannot read Woo Baby, the actual name of one of the books in that game. Dang it, Deadbeard. Socks to fire, shirts to chaos. I mean, I will wear socks only if I am going outside to do something more than just walk around my house. Even sometimes if I'm just like walking around the block or something, I won't even put on socks. I'll just put my shoes directly on. You can't be bothered. I did see another channel, and they have a quote search, so you can do like it was like exclamation point quote search space and then a term. So you could do like quote search space sock, and it would search through and it would list a random quote that had that word in it. I don't know how they used it. Nightbot has that? I use Nightbot for my quotes. Or no, is it Streamlabs? No, it's Streamlabs. Never mind. I'm silly. Yeah. PhantomBot is something I've heard from a lot of people is worth making the switch over to. I'm just lazy. I looked at it, was like, yeah, I should probably do this. And then made a note to myself, do this later. I tried my best to come up with excuses, but Dr. Leskin still seemed concerned.
だけどね、私も治療プロジェクトに参加して驚いたんだが、確かにこの病の特徴として、多くの患者が夢を共有する不可思議な現象が起こっているんだ。集団幻覚に近いのかとも思って、今調べているんだけどね。でもなんだろう、こんなことは初めてでね。脳科学的には今のところ解が導けない。
This Phantom bot, is that the one that you have to set up to run locally against a local database?
正直、非科学的という言葉が一番しっくりくるくらいだよ。それこそ
Okay. I mean, that's not a problem for me.
平行世界とか、
I mean, that's what I do on the daily for my job. But yeah.
そう
I think the reason why I didn't do it when I looked into it at the time was my computer and internet I didn't think could handle it at the time. And since then I've made several computer upgrades. I've upgraded my RAM, I've upgraded my graphics card. I added a wireless adapter. The internet has been improved once, and it's actually going to be improved again because our contract ran out and we just renewed it. So the internet's going to be 3 times faster, which is great. It also means anything you see Slaybeard do can be done. Yeah, makes sense.
君も克美からいろいろと話を聞いてくれると助かるよ。医者に言えないことでも友人になら話すだろうしね。
はい、一応心がけておきます。
さて、リンタロウ、それはそれとして確認だ。
Dr. Lesson was looking over my shoulder.
クリスマスパーティーの時にも感じたんだけれど、君のガールフレンドたちはキュートなお嬢さんばかりだね。
え？
Ah, so that means I can raid you as my olive oil bot now. I turned around and saw that Mayuri, Kaide, and Yuki had all stood up from the sofa and were looking at me. When they saw Dr. Leskin was looking at them, they waved.
やはりあの中に恋人がいたりするのかい？ユキ、カエデ、マユリ。
Please get an oral oil bit.
それともカツミがそうなのかな？
Deadbeard, was that intentional or was that mobile auto-correcting everything you did? Believe it's time for you to retire. Yep, take care, Samuses. Just do not like thises. His words were so surprising, I couldn't think of anything to say. Maho would often call this middle-aged man a mischievous boy. That was exactly the look he had on his face. Yeah. Have a good night, Samuses.
君のプライベートを詮索する気はないからね。ただまあ可愛い教え子にちょっとした土産話をと思っただけさ。
Dr. Lesson turned to walk away before I could figure out what he meant.
それじゃリンタロウ、私はもうちょっと院長と話をしないといけないから、これで。できればユキたちにも一人一人ハグしていきたいところだったが、次回にとっておこう。彼女たちによろしく。
はい。
Mayuri and the others came over to me as I watched him go.
今の人レスキネン先生ですよね。どこかで見たことあると思った。アメリカに帰ったんじゃなかったでしたっけ？おかりん？
There was no way I could tell the girls what Dr. Leskin and I were just talking about. Or you could tell them all the other things he talked about. After Fubuki's exam was over, we went to her room and listened to her complain, and then the visit was over. Just like Dr. Leskin had said, she looked fine. Told us she was ready to leave the hospital and jog all the way home. Mayuri and the others were relieved, but I felt worried. Did I need to talk to Dr. Luskin about reading Steiner after all? How would I explain it? Might be a better idea to talk to Maho and have her explain it to him. I couldn't come to an answer right away. We said goodbye to Kaide and Yuki at one of the stations on the way back. Before we got to Ikebukuro, I remembered to take up my phone and open the web browser. I went to @channel, eager to see how she'd respond to the bait I'd spread this afternoon. I put my hand over to my mouth to stifle the noise. Mayuri had been standing next to me, and she was leaning over my screen. I fished her up all right. I didn't think it would go this well. The timestamp was from just 30 minutes ago. I decided to respond immediately using the same name, Salieri's neighbor. Cool, we had a bunch of errors, she corrects them. And we're just gonna post random nonsense. I posted and then reloaded the thread. There was already a response from her. Time lag between the posts was just 21 seconds. It's kind of irritating to have her come after me so hard. It was as if she was insulting me as a person. Well, I was the one who deliberately written in mistakes, so I should have expected it. The thread's other residents were probably confused, everyone except for her. Residents, regular users of a service, primarily refers to frequent commenters on anonymous internet message boards. The kitchen was about to flood? Yeah, please stop your kitchen from flooding. That doesn't sound good. Mayuri had been watching our exchange and looked at me confused.
Mana. 多分古くから付き合いのあるやつだと思う。
Now then, how would you reply to the nickname Salieri's neighbor in the post I just wrote? I was curious, but there wasn't an immediate response like before. The train reached Ikebukuro Station. The train slid into the station and stopped. I reloaded the thread one more time before the doors opened. There was a very short response from Furi Gohan and Kamehameha. There could be no doubt now. This Kuri Gohan and Kamehameha was Krisu. That transition feels like the right place to stop for tonight.